later, because I think that the most important takeaway out of the Bears offense on this day was that they had 281 rushing yards, that they rushed really well against the Packers, and they followed it up with a great rushing performance that, frankly, in my opinion, kind of carried the game for the team, because they still gave up 20 points, which isn't incredible, but it's enough to lose you some football games here. I'll just like play some of the tape while I talk about this so that we'll go over and we'll review all of this in more detail later, but you can see some of the stuff that I'm talking about, where the Bears rushing attack was the only thing that the Bears could feasibly get going throughout the day, and boy did they have gotten so consistent. Credit to, I believe his name is Chris Morgan and Luke Getsy, and the culture that they've instilled on the ground, because between offensive line and rushing the ball on this play in specifics, what you're going to see is, if memory serves, it's an outside zone run. Here, let me fix up my my tool, because that is way too small. We got to get this a little bit bigger. But so, let's see, Derek, that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I also want to be so clear. Let's see here. Will I be going over pass pro reps more? AGM, you bet. We always do. Let's go. Okay, if you've got a bingo card for me having a technical issue, this is going to qualify. So I need to reboot Epic Pen. That'll give me my little widget. So, order of what we're going to be doing. We're going to go through, let's see here. Did that fix it? There we go. Now we can draw. We're going to be going through the Bears run game, the highlights of that. What are they doing well? Why is it working? What's going on? And then we're going to go through Fields, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then we'll go through like a little bit of defense. I expect that to take a little bit of time. And if I can be really blunt with you, I have a brand new child. I didn't get to watch the defense because I was doing baby things. So we could watch some of it together for sure. But I want to just be very open about the fact that if you're looking for defensive analysis, this isn't the week as much as I would like it to be. Eddie Jackson, for my money, played really awesome. It sucks that I missed Roquan's resurgent week, because Roquan earned it. I've been way too hard on Roquan. And of course, I had baby problems the week that he went off. Thank you so much, Bobble. It's been fun, and it's been sleepless. But so Roquan had what looked like a really good game. I don't have any idea, but we'll get there later, because I get enough criticism about how I don't actually start with enough tape. But so I want to just point out how well the Bears have done at this right here, where you've got a matchup, or wait, no, he's not matched up. Like, for the most part, the Bears' run game has been so good about actually getting men on men. We've seen a lot of Nagy run years where the linebackers just never got fitted. Nobody ever came off their combo blocks. If everybody did get blocked, it was a bit of a miracle. And now we aren't just getting trick runs that work, because I did these chronologically. The next one's the ejects, or the next one's the Equinemius St. Brown sweep, which is great, but honestly, it's the quote-unquote run-of-the-mill runs that I think we really should pay attention to. One thing that Luke Getsy and this Bears offense are doing phenomenally well is mixing up the point of attack. Where are the blocks coming from? Keeping people confused within the context of the ground game. In this case, this totally worked, because for the last 2 weeks, they've sent Equinemius St. Brown, who, I mean, in a word, nobody's scared of, on a jet sweep before sending runs this way. So by the time EQ got the ball, I mean, he still thinks it's there. He still thinks it's there. Everybody still thought the play was to Herbert right there. And as EQ took the ball and ran with it, the safety even thinks it. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a heck of a fake, but on a week where Justin Fields played badly, I think there are going to be plenty of people up my throat if I give Fields too much credit. But I think he did a really good job of timing it up so that he could just turn around, stick the ball in his hands, and then keep going with what looked like a perfectly normal fake. This is fast. Boom. And so a lot of the little things in execution look really good when the Bears are on the ground. I mean, truly, this makes me think that they spent training camp and the offseason just running the ball 70% of the time, because they have just smoked it with their run game execution. The question becomes, what's up, Marshall? The question at this point becomes, why does the passing game look so poor? But we'll get there later. Like you're saying, Akusai, the Bears hired a coach whose goal was defense and running the ball. And boy, have they. So this was one of the first cracker runs of the game, and Herbert is just going to steal this guy's soul. I'd zoom in if I could. It's awesome. I love it whenever a running back breaks a tackle, especially breaking a tackle by just going straight through somebody. But I have to call attention to just how well the Bears block this thing, because when you take a look at this, so the sweep EQ comes over, 25 is going to honor it this time. That takes a man out of the play, and it sets up the rest of the offensive line, who are going to hit a bunch of nasty combo blocks and get to the second level. Even with, I think that's either Mustafa or it's Lucas Patrick, like basically falling over. Kmet comes off, he seals his man enough. Jones seals his man, and suddenly Herbert is going to be one-on-one against the safety after he runs through 54. And honestly, there are just so many pieces of this running game, because this is the basic stuff. Right? Like, this is the easy run. This is the normal run. We're going to go through a lot of variations off of this very run type, because all this is duo or inside zone. They can be really hard to tell the difference, but you're going to see Cole Kmet hit here and work off. You're going to see, I think it's going to be Cody Whitehair hit here and work off. And the gist of what you're looking at for when you watch it on Sundays is that you see two people engage, but it is one person's stated job to get to the second level. This is where the Nagy offense really struggled, is because you saw the guys hit their combo blocks, but they never came off of them. In this offense, which is a normal run offense, coming off of them is part of the plan, and if you didn't do it, it's a loaf. And so watch the way that as this progresses, they go ahead and hit. Like, you'll see a push, you'll see the guys on the outside are going to do what they can to pass the man under the control of the person who's going to take them, and then they come off. Cody's going to trip over Braxton Jones. He's not the only one who does that. That's a little bit of foreshadowing, but Kmet comes right off and is going to engage Kingsley, and he does a really good job with it. So then 51 can't build up any head of steam. Herbert decides, I'm going to take your lunch money, and he does. Then he just plows forward. Herbert's also really phenomenal at falling forward. Credit to him. He's a fun runner to watch. That was a 2nd and 5 first down. So then I believe we're going to get into some of the zone read packages they do, and they rule. Like, the Bears do a lot of zone read, and the zone read totally works. Here, Herbert's going to steal another soul before just about running through somebody else. But now that you've seen the wide angle, let's see what's going on tight. So what you're going to see that I think really rules, and if you're following me on Twitter, which you should be, I shared this one earlier. Let's talk about it in more detail. So this is a zone read action. You're going to see Herbert have an option for the handoff. You're going to see Fields have the opportunity to take it this way, and Fields has his eyes on 92 right here. This is the read man. Basically, if he dives down, Fields is going to take it. If he sits still, Herbert's going to take it and try to beat him on the inside. The big key on these zone reads is that for the most part, there's generally a tiebreaker. In this case, it's going to be a handoff. But in some cases, like we'll get to later in the game, if somebody's arc blocking on the outside, like if you had Braxton Jones and, say, Sam Mustipher pulling sideways, then it might be in Fields' best interest to keep the ball if the read is muddy, because you've got blockers out there. In this case, it's a handoff. But so what I really want you to pay attention to is the linemen, who are going to just hit their combo blocks like it's their job. And literally speaking, it is. But watch how clean they are. Watch how in sync they are. I'll show you full speed, and then I'll show you in slow-mo. But so you'll see two things. 92 is going to do what's called surfing. It is what it sounds like, where 92 is going to surf the edge right here, and as soon as Fields sees him flat-footed, he knows that there's no way he's going to have the capacity to stop, in the world of physics, somebody that's moving faster than him. And he's right. But watch 62, watch 65. Lucas Patrick and Cody Whitehair are both going to give their guy a nudge, and almost in sync with each other, step out and seal the inside. So suddenly you've got Braxton Jones, he's sealed. Patrick, he sealed his guy. Cody Whitehair, he sealed his guy. That's not Braxton Jones, that's Larry Borum. Get it right, Robert. And then Herbert takes on the edge rusher one-on-one. He says, "You can't tackle me." Runs over 36 and falls forward for a wild 9 yards on an inside run, which is not normally what you would expect something there. Like you're saying, Exelion, I mean, the beauty of this is that there is tons of if you can do these right, it forces the defense to commit an extra body. Take a look at what we got here. We're looking at a 6-man box. Let's go back to the wide angle. The main reason that you want to have this kind of success on the ground is because it forces another safety into the box. Right here, the Texans are playing 3 guys over, or like the Bears have put 3 guys in a bunch set over here, which who knows what they could do with it. But because you've collected 4 bodies well outside the action zone, so to speak, you've now got a 6-man box. Because you've got a 6-man box, you're going to have Fields block one of them with the zone read, and then it's 5-on-5. And like you saw, this is just gorgeous stuff. Herbert becomes one-on-one with the safety, and when you can get a runner one-on-one with the safety, you tend to succeed. It's a nice play design, J2K, but I mean, I can't emphasize enough how nice the execution is. Nagy's play designs were pretty similar. This is a basic zone read look, and what really stands out, though, is how well these guys are passing it off. Like, those guards right there, there's not going to be a prettier visual than the synchronicity that you get between Patrick and Whitehair, even if I'd rather that Patrick wasn't the starting guard. And then they follow it up with a touchdown. Like, this one's sweet, too. Anytime Kari Blasingame enters the game, get excited, Bears fans, because as of yet, no defender or no defense has really figured out what to do about him. I mean, it means the I formation. I know there are some people, I'm looking at you, Matthew Nagy, that roll their eyes when they see this, but it's like, watch the way this run works, and then we'll get to the tight angle. This is, so one of the things that I love is in the Nagy era, RIP, we pretty much ran one play. And if you followed this channel, it was outside zone. We ran whatever variation of outside zone we were feeling at the time. So everybody would just step to their left on outside zone, and the defensive line would follow the line. Somebody would fill the hole, and either we, happen to block everybody, which happened occasionally. I mean, especially against the Lions, we tended to run the ball really well. But most of the time, it was a decent gain, nothing crazy. In this, the Bears are employing in this run scheme, one of the things they do really well. So we just watched a basic inside zone. I'll back it up just a little bit further so that we can really see what I'm talking about. This right here, this blocking, this is inside zone off a zone read. This combo block is nothing unusual for what's called inside zone. So in case I haven't said it enough, IZ, inside zone. And one of the things that I personally think is really hard for defenders, I'm just going to use a basic line of scrimmage here, is 96 should not know where his blocker is coming from. If his blocker is coming from Cody Whitehair, great. If it's Braxton Jones, great. And so what you're going to see on the Herbert run is that you're going to see the offensive lineman down block, and I believe it's called pin and pull. Well, I need to see, or don't quote me on it. It's Borum again. But so within this, watch Kmet and watch Jones down block over here. So because they down block, the Bears are going to run what's called G lead, and I'm writing it because they have already run it a lot. It is what it sounds like. It's guard lead. So the guard, Cody Whitehair, pops around the formation, and he's going to be the first into the hole. Kari Blasingame is going to come through. He's going to pick up the next guy into the hole. But watch the guys get to the second level. We haven't had offensive linemen getting to the second level in what feels like ages, and Larry Borum and Sam Mustipher, hat tip, he has a pretty bad game, but he does some good things in the running game, so I'll hat tip if you're on the touchdown for sure. They get to the second level. They tie up their guys. Borum blocks his guy out of the play. Jones sticks with the play, runs from the left tackle position to block his guy through the end zone, and there's Herbert, still not technically down because his knees are sitting on top of Braxton Jones, sitting in the end zone. Now check this thing out from the tight angle. So obviously there's a little bit of formation confusion, but check how pretty this is. Because they down block, you're going to get 52 and 56 washed out of the play immediately. And then that's Kmet, by the way, taking on an edge rusher. I know he's gotten maligned over the last couple weeks. I thought he was solid today. So as soon as you get that, you get Cody Whitehair matched up on a safety, lol. You get Kari Blasingame fearlessly taking on a linebacker, which he does. Herbert does a particularly good job in all of these runs, if you can't tell, just setting the blockers up and hitting them with force. Like, watch how... So, in case you've ever wondered what it means to set a block up, envision it this way. Blocking and run fitting is like a game of chicken, right? The further a running back can get into this lane right here, the more you get guys like 58 and 52 that commit to stopping this lane right here. And then Herbert bounces out. So once you get that, you have a whole bunch of people that have now committed to getting, look at 53 or 51, I think it is. No, it's 5. Petrie rolls back in to try to stop Herbert's lane. As soon as he rolls back in, while 58's been blocked, while 52's been blocked, the way out here is wide open, green light. And so Herbert, when people talk about setting your blockers up, it means that if Herbert had just run this way immediately, 36 would have already taken off. But he didn't. Instead, he challenges the hole that he's intended to go into, bounces it out late, is going to run right behind his blockers. I mean, this is zone running at its finest. Herbert is such a good zone runner. There aren't enough flowers to give him because he was awesome. Let's check it out one more time. Flowers for Sam Mustipher. Flowers for Larry Borum. Honestly, Lucas Patrick does a pretty solid job. But check out Borum in particular because I think it's tough to run a linebacker down from that far away. It's tough to stick with the play with a legal block, and yet he does. Herbert pounds it, gets on in. Let's talk about Braxton Jones. This whole play is just like a bunch of like medals that you can give people because Braxton Jones is going to hit 56 right here. He's going to stay with 56 because did you see that quick peek? We never talk enough about how the offensive line doesn't actually know quite what's going on. So he is going to stay engaged with 56, stay engaged with 56. He's going to take a quick peek at where the play is going. He realizes, John, we're going to get there. He's got to stay with the play, stays with the play a little bit more, hits 56 again, puts him into the end zone. We've got to talk about Sam Mustipher, who, again, it's not a phenomenal game by him. 2 bobbled snaps, a bunch of problems in pass protection. This was sweet. Like, Musty's going to get right out immediately, seal 58 out of the play, stay with him just enough to keep him out, and Herbert does the rest. I mean, there's a lot of pieces to this. So off of inside zone, where, again, if the Bears, I know it's just a whole bunch of replays, but so within this play, if it was inside zone, you're going to get him, which he does, moving up there. You're going to get him probably moving up there with somebody there, but you don't. Because you get G lead, it changes the math just a little bit as Sam, instead of chipping this, is going to just run straight out to stop 58. You're going to get Cody working around. It's sweet. G lead's a sweet play. Mostly what really is special here is the fact that the Bears are developing a sound enough ground attack with the inside zone and the occasional wide zone that they can then mix it up with things like G lead, which is a gap scheme play, not a zone run by trade, and have a lot of success. On this play right here, check out the consistency with their ability to get one-on-one matchups. I need to see the play again to remind myself what blocking scheme specifically it is, but this is much wider zone. So this, I believe, is a stretch handoff. Yes, we've got a stretch handoff. Mustipher in this case, it looks like, let's see. Honestly, it's hard to tell. It's kind of got some outside zone vibes, but what really, really counts, let's go back to the wide angle because you need to see it again. I'm remembering why I listed this here. Not only is it a pretty solid gain, but if you followed this stream at all over the years, one thing we used to just harp on is these wide receivers cannot block. And check out Dante Pettis taking on a linebacker. Check out Elon. Sorry to hear you can't stay. We'll catch you later. Check out the receivers holding blocks for 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Look at these receivers drive their guys. I don't like, I know this one's Pettis. I'm pretty sure that's Mooney. So I'm not certain. Maybe that's Equinemius St. Brown. But like, check out them hitting dudes. Like right here, engage, drive. And they just drive them. They drive them like linemen. Yeah, that's 17. Let's see. Yeah, that's EQ. Like, that's awesome. It's cool watching just how well Cody going from left guard to taking out a linebacker. Looks like Borum getting out, taking out another linebacker. No, that's Borum. It's Jones. Man, I am really in and out. Like, that makes sense. That makes sense that it's ISM. I was like, I think it's 19 that EQ's over. No, that's command. But so, Dandroid, great to see you. It's sweet watching this Bears running game. So we've seen inside zone, we've seen G lead, we've seen a jet sweep, we've seen wide zone. Because this is a little wider. It's not quite wide zone because normally you see guys kind of hook out like we used to see outside zone, but it's a little bit further. But the wide receivers getting involved with the blocking game really helps them out. You can't just say, like, it's just the Texans, because that's not quite how it works. Joe, 281 yards isn't necessarily ever sustainable, but the hope would be that sub 100 passing yards as a team isn't sustainable either. And so as the running game comes down to a normal level, you're able to do a little bit more off of that with play action. More on that later. But so they're able to use, whether it's zone read, here's the main thing to note here, this is like a 2nd and 3, and they're going to use zone read to punch it up the middle and grab a sweet first down. And I love Herbert's running, by the way. I could zoom in and show you this all day long. Herbert does such a good job of eating contact and carrying his momentum forward. Just a few extra yards. We're right here. Even without a ton of like runway, he's gonna punch through and fall. Like, it's, yeah. If we do have apparently all we need is the rain to get over 100 passing yards. But so here, let's see, zone read, Mustipher comes off, Jones's guy is gonna go for a pass rush. This is always just kind of funny. I like on run reps catching the defensive linemen who are like, it's a pass play. Oh, bummer. But so you get a really nice running hole there. I think Blazing Game has been just a natural at fullback. He races through, picks up his guy. This is, okay, so was there a jet sweep? One thing that totally worked here, by the way, is that as that handoff came through, because Blazing Game punches straight through this hole, that tells the, are you trying to correct me? Oh no, you're not. Because Blazing Game punches straight through this hole, the linebackers are going to get completely confused as to where the play is going. This is something that I really love. It's a simple usage, right? Because Herbert takes this handoff, and where is he going? Right? I think based on the way that the line is setting up that his eyes are telling him that he's got a lane right here, but because Blazing Game sprints through this piece of the defensive line, you're going to get both of these linebackers saying, oh shoot, I got to cover this. And it ends up with 50 replacing them, and it kind of looks like they do a little choreographed dance, right? Boom, right? Just like a little switcherooski, right? It's not part of the defensive play, but you just have one guy, 58, that's actually following Herbert. Oh, it's Ebner. That's brutal. But so you have one guy actually following the back and 2 people following the fullback, because why would the fullback run somewhere that the other 2 aren't? Helps Sam get control of his block. Ebner pushes through, goes straight through. You could tell that I was tired as I did this, but the scheme analysis, I stand by it. Like, the way that they have weaponized the fullback, this is out of a shotgun run too. This isn't necessarily just the I formation. You end up with a fullback able to play tricks on the second level, and because the offensive line is doing such a good job, and maybe this won't work in every week, because eventually you'll play some people with really good defensive lines like Dallas, but like while the offensive line's controlling these people, so many things are working in the Bears' favor to handle the second level that you end up giving the Bears opportunity to break off a lot of big chunks. Because in the world of the ground game, honestly, 7 yards is a pretty solid chunk in and of itself. More zone read action, and they do a really good job with this. Let's take a look on the back end. I don't know if there's an update on Montgomery, Frosty, but Montgomery is a bit of a cyborg, so if he stayed out for almost any time at all, I would just be stunned. One of the things that works out is I am of the opinion, I cannot confirm this, that this isn't a true zone read, and if it is, it's their, like, I don't know, wham action, where they like to block this, but this sift block from Cole Kmet comes through, and as it does, it takes out the guy on the end right here, and I think that at this point, I think that's part of the design to not only look like a boot action, but also to push through and to like basically create a running hole on what very well might be an inside or just a straight inside zone run. Take a look at 65 and 70 right here, combo blocking like crazy. Jenkins about to come off the combo block right there with 52 waiting to, or like trying to see whether Justin Fields is going to go out or not with this handoff, and Kmet coming right over to immediately taking him out of the play. Now, Mustipher doesn't get a great handle on his guy, but he gets enough. This is why that little tap matters, right? Because as you see Jenkins and Mustipher going to town on this defensive lineman, you're going to see Jenkins give him a shove. From there, Mustipher's able to use his body to get him under control, and at that moment, Herbert is able to just start stepping through. He doesn't look visually quite as fun as Montgomery does, but it's pretty wild watching 24 pick through the crowd because he's quick, he's explosive, and he can chuck some tackles just fine himself. I mean, if anything, it's shades of Jordan Howard, who also wore number 24. Check out one more time both Whitehair and Jenkins getting off their block. Whitehair to nail him, Jenkins to nail him. This is much more normal inside zone, in case I don't, because it costs money and I don't have a lot of money at this moment. Not embarrassingly bad, but just not enough to stream it to Twitch too. But it's sweet watching this run game. They are really good. Here's another short yardage package. You can tell that because the Texans are completely suckered up, and the Bears are going to just run outside zone. You're going to see everybody slanting down. We've seen inside zone, outside zone, G lead, wide zone, etc., etc. And here Herbert is going to take this. He's going to engage this corner. This corner is not going to engage him, and boom. It's like he didn't even bite down. Like, I think this is hilarious. This corner wanted no business dealing with Khalil Herbert. Herbert gives him the shimmy. Herbert gives him a shake, and he blasts right on by him. That's like a 3rd and 1. And no kidding, Sir Lord. Like, Herbert looked like a man on fire at this point. And the Bears do a great job here. I mean, it's just a bunch of guys punching down in their gaps and knowing that you have a runner that if he can is going to hit the backside. Credit to Kmet, by the way, for keeping 5 Petrie engaged. Petrie's a warrior in run defense, and that's a huge block. If you lose that edge right there, play over. But he doesn't. He hangs on to it just enough, and Herbert's able to crank this thing down the field for a first down plus a little bit more. I mean, when you run for like 7 or more yards per carry, you did a lot of things right. Here's the play. This is the one that was on Pat McAfee. This is such a fabulous play because what I love about it is that it's got all the same rules as outside zone, but because it starts with a pitch, it gives Herbert a much better opportunity to cut this run back for huge gains. Take a look at the way that this thing's designed. So Blazing Game's going to get out in front of him to take the first guy he sees, but you've just got basic outside zone block, coming off the second level to get there. I think that's Sam, might be Whitehair, in pursuit. And then Blazing Game hits 5 to seal the hole, and boom. At this point, one-on-one with the safety. Couldn't be any better. Body on body blocking, just constantly throughout this game. And then Herbert looks like he's shot out of a cannon. Like, seriously, this isn't sped up or anything. Like, just ripping. When he hits full throttle, he hits full throttle in a hurry. Nice little ball switch right there. You got to love all the little things just to make sure he doesn't fumble. And then all of a sudden he's down there at the 20. Hey, Bob, how you doing? Here it is from the tight angle, and it is awesome. Jenkins does a good job on this play as well, if memory serves. But so you're going to have Kmet and Borum hitting some big blocks on the right side. They get gummed up a little bit, but that's okay. You've got Jenkins, who then pursues to the second level, as well as Cody Whitehair. Check out these two in particular. The guard work by this pair, honestly, the Bears so far this season, but the guard work in the run game has been a world different, because they just jut out, they take on the linebackers, and these linebackers, these look like the linebackers that we've been watching for years whenever the Bears take on a team that can run block well, like the Bears linebackers we've been watching. Now, it's the Bears offensive linemen that are jumping out and handling them, and honestly, at this point, like, if they want to replace Cody Whitehair, like, sure, and I know that I'm so glued into the all-22 footage that it can be very easy for me to be reactionary, but Cody Whitehair at this point looks like he's having quite a nice little resurgence here. Does that mean he's worth the mega money that he's being paid? Maybe not, but it's better to say, or to ask yourself, okay, are we going to extend this guy versus it looks like it's the backside corner that makes the tackle? Because I know you asked, John. 24 is going to stay with the play, then he's going to hit the gas. Honestly, Herbert does a good job fighting him off there, in my opinion, to pick up an extra 7 yards. But tackling a running back at that point is just so difficult. You can see this ESB sweep motion. It's in there all the time. And I know right there it's just like a little formation shift. But they pull him across the formation pretty much constantly. Wouldn't surprise me, Scott, if Alex Leatherwood replaces Whitehair, but I will say that Whitehair's making it a tough ask to replace him, and I'll take it. But so this is just basic, hard-nosed red zone running. I love watching it. Not because it's crazy good necessarily. In this case, it's just because they do a really good job of sticking with their matchups. In this case, it is, on cue. 76, 75, 85, all taking second-level blockers. So I think that the only reason this play doesn't work is because EQ can't get to 5, Petrie, which is fine. In the world of the running game, you are not always expecting everybody to get to all of their landmarks. If they do, it can oftentimes be a huge play, but if they don't, that's pretty normal. And yeah, exactly. Petrie triggers down very quickly. He takes himself out of he puts himself into the play really, really nicely. And this is one of those where you look at it from a DB perspective. If he hadn't triggered when he did, it is a touchdown. Instead, it's only a 6-yard gain in the red zone. And then I think I kept the touchdown. No, I didn't keep the touchdown. That's fine. We're just doing basics right now. But so Ron, bear down. Absolutely. There's plenty more, just hard-nosed running. It's not all crazy scheme. It's not all stuff like what we saw last week where it's a handoff to here, like a pitch over here that then they run over here, like a backside almost counter toss kind of thing, though it's not exactly counter. The Bears have been putting some great blocking on tape. It's not all just inside zone, but man, oh man, watching this stuff is just night and day from where it was, as Borum is going to pass him off to the tight end. Mustipher is going to pass him off to Lucas Patrick to get to the second level. And you've got man on man on man on man on man on man on man. And you know what? If you win the rep, great. If you lose the rep, fine. But at least you got everybody to their landmarks, and now you control your own destiny. Herbert does yet another good job not tripping over 85. It's little stuff like this, right? Where running backs have to navigate true traffic. Plants his shoulder, pushes, 6 yards, right? It's sweet watching this stuff. Do I think Patrick at center and Jenkins at full-time will significantly improve the line? They have honestly impressed me quite a bit, especially in the run blocking department. I think it makes things better. I think that we mutter to ourselves. I think it helps a lot more in the passing game than it does in the run game. I think Mustipher has been better in the run game than meets the eye. The occasional run mistake, but mostly his issues come in the passing game, just getting bullied by people. But in the run game, this is a fun one. This is really fun. Yeah, especially because Draco, when Musty hops up to the second level, I think that his weight issue disappears. I mean, when you're an undersized offensive lineman, because, I mean, look, I don't know, but I think Musty's like 290-ish, whereas many offensive linemen are between 300 and like 330. So he's just kind of light, and it shows when he takes on really strong defensive tackles. But trust me, 290 pounds matched up against 91 is not the same as 290 pounds matched up against 58, because 58's only 245 on like a really good day. So this one is a really fun rep because it's grindy. This is everything you want out of the Bears running game. You get another G lead. Did you see it? Let's go back. We can make sure we watch. But so you get this pretty little cut down as both of them are going to down block so that Cody Whitehair pops out. You get Blasingame being the first through the hole, and then you get Herbert shucking tackles after the fact. Mustipher gets out to the second level, pushes him out of the play. Looks like Jones gets to the second level, pushes him out of the play. It's Blasingame versus Petrie. Now it isn't anymore. Then Herbert is going to take on an arm tackle. He's going to get stood up, and this might be my favorite part about it because I'm a Bears fan, I'm rabid, and I drool over this stuff. You get the whole Bears offensive line to push the pile and get about 20 extra yards. Now, I do think they take it back, but it's fun to see it anyways. That just a little bit of extra grit out of a running back that looked like he absolutely refused to be tackled for the overwhelming majority of the game. I love seeing how many hats on hats the Bears are getting right now in this ground game. And I would tell you that it's just the Texans, but they did this to the Packers. Like they did the same rushing success against the Pack. And to me, if you can do it against the Packers and then you could repeat it the week after that, you're just doing well. It didn't always work, as you can tell on plays like this, where sometimes guys made plays, and you got to be aware of that. In this case, it's 50. 50 on Houston is going to do awesome. Reinhardt, I agree with you. The forward pass should be illegalized. It should just the only thing that you should be doing is running the ball. And chances are, if you can have a second running back handing the ball off, then great. And let's just get Tom Brady a nice retirement package. But anyways, so point is that not everything can just be schemed. In this case, 50 does an amazing job. Says low man wins kind of thing, and he's going to just smoke this run play. I mean, it's not quite Akeem Hicks style because Akeem would always make the tackle, but he gums it up enough to where Herbert can never quite start off. And while there is a backside run lane, you can tell that 92 here is going to range over to make the play. And let's see, Ken Schaefer, thanks so much for subscribing. 92 has enough room to come make the play and stop it for like a gain of 3. But I just wanted to make it clear that 281 yards is a collection of a lot of really good running plays. And they're not all going to be like that great, which is fine. But little things like this, oh man, look at this. Like, I love watching things like this where you want to talk about setting up your blocks. You can also set guys up for broken tackles in this setting where Herbert is going to challenge this. Let's see. It hurts. But so, like, Herbert challenges the edge. He gets the DB to freeze his footing, and then he's just going to take off and leave the guy in the dust. I know, John. 3 yards used to be awesome. Herbert was just crazy, man. Like, Herbert in particular, flowers. He did everything a running back could do except catch the ball and, be Austin Eckler. But in the world of classical Bears running, like, this is awesome. Look at these points of contact, for crying out loud, as you've got the tight end, and I think that's EQ, that are just going to rip off of this. They're going to put their shoulders into guys, and then they're going to be able to keep them there. Like, there is some awesome stuff brewing in this Bears run game execution.